Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey.
Hey guys, we have a little copy-paste action happening here today if you're watching on YouTube, because today we have our sister and best friend and all the things, Chloe Love, with us. Woo! And yes, and we all take after our moms, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm. We're not triplets. Age gaps between us all.
Definitely, yes. So we're excited to have her on. We've just been chatting about this topic with the winter months coming up. Mm-hmm. The temperature is finally dropping a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to be.
And
that's what they say.
Yes. And so we're looking at this kind of like one of Bailey's fave preventative episode situations. So we are going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into the episode, Bailey, what's filling your cup?
Today I got a hot coffee from Scout, and it was hold on.
Sticky toffee pudding.
It was the sticky toffee pudding. So that's what's filling my cup today. It's quite yummy. I did add like 2 or 3 stevias in it because I actually feel like Scout does not make their coffee super, super sweet. Mm-mm. Like I feel like I always need to add a little bit of something. So yeah, it's really good. What's filling your cup?
I also have a Scout coffee drink, and it's an almond milk dirty chai.
Ooh, dirty.
Yes, I gotta have that espresso if I'm drinking it early in the morning.
Yes.
But I just love the way they make it, honestly. I whatever they do to whatever espresso they use, I love. I mean, I know it's their own beans. I love that. And then obviously chai is a thing that I like too. So
yeah, heck yeah. Chloe Love, what's filling your cup?
I got a chocolate latte iced coffee from Scout.
Nice.
It's actually really good. I love chocolate coffee. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty sure you told me it was a chocoholic.
It is a chocoholic. Chocoholic latte. Whatever.
Yes. It makes sense that you like chocolate coffees because you love chocolate milk. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense. I always really like vanilla or caramel lattes because I love caramel. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's usually what I go for. So yeah, it makes sense that you like the chocolate ones.
It's my go-to quick trip drink.
Oh yeah.
That's funny because I feel like I like chai because it's cinnamony.
Yeah.
And I'm big on cinnamon. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So if you guys listened to our Taylor episode 2 weeks ago, back when Taylor and Travis first announced their engagement, we also had Scout Coffee then, and we shouted them out. But today they are not our shout out.
No, we have a different shout out today. Today's shout out is for a Mr. Julian, who is Chloe Love's boyfriend. Okay, boyfriend. Who's Chloe Love's boyfriend, and he has been a recent supporter of the podcast. We just saw that he started following us on like Instagram. I think he's listening to a couple episodes. Just really sweet and very much something that, you know, your men should be doing for you guys. They should be supporting.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you saw that he followed us on Instagram, which I didn't see that. But then Chloe Love and I were at volleyball. This is going to be really hard for me. The names is going to be really hard for me because I call you guys each other's names all the time.
Yes. It happens.
But anyway, Chloe Love was at volleyball, and she was saying how Julian told her he listened to the Enneagram episode,
which is so cute to me.
And how he wanted to test each other or whatever, or type each other, you know.
Yeah.
And that Enneagram episode was real early on in our podcast.
This was a while ago.
It was episode 9.
Yes.
So that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And we're on like in the 60s.
Yeah, almost
Julian.
to 69.
Yeah, he started from the beginning because it was whenever he was doing his lawn care work. So
he would just listen to it while doing that.
And he got tired of music, so he was like, "Oh, I'll just put on this podcast." And for a second, he was like, it sounds like you're talking to me. And I was like, that's insane.
That's so funny. Well, shout out to you, Julian. We love the support that you're giving our little sister, and we love the support that you're giving us. And we really appreciate you. We, as always, love new followers, new listeners, new supporters. So thank you for that as well.
Yes. Well, moving into the episode. So this came about in a few different ways. I thought it would just be really fun to have Chloe Love on at some point because honestly, sometimes I just think that having a different demographic or different voice or whatever is helpful. And even though Chloe Love is lots like us, there is an age gap, like you were saying. So it was fun. And then going into the colder months, this has brought about, I think, some conversations with you and mom about going into the winter months and avoiding, kind of that seasonal depression that some of us get and whatnot. And so I just thought it would be fun. It's going to be less interview style than when we have other guests on, but just to talk about kind of, like we said, preventative about dropping the mood whenever it goes into the winter months. So I did look up some information about
seasonal depression.
Yes. Yeah. So technically, only like 5% of Americans get the diagnosis of SAD, which is the seasonal affective disorder. That's like the official whatever.
When I saw that you put sad on there, like the episode title is gonna be like how to avoid getting sad or something along those lines, I was like sad, seasonal ass depression.
Seasonal ass depression.
Like, what does SAD stand for? Seasonal ass depression.
Man, I didn't even think it was gonna be
Like
what's
an
that called?
acronym?
An acronym. I just thought it was sad in all caps.
Yeah,
And I was
how
like,
to
you know what?
avoid
Yeah,
getting sad.
I want to avoid the sad.
You know what?
Guys.
Yeah, sad. I'm curious with people listening if they know what sad is, because Jared and I talk about it almost every winter. So
Really?
yeah, so in all honesty, this doesn't affect me too much. I definitely could see that my mood may be a little bit lower whenever it gets cold and dark and all that.
Yeah.
But this doesn't affect me too much, but it does affect Jared pretty bad. And so I'll probably speak a little bit more to what has helped him that I've seen third party whenever we are talking a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But would you say that you
I feel like I want to say yes and no. Like, I have felt before that I have gotten seasonal depression, but you guys know I'm so bad with like tunnel vision, so I forget how I feel when I'm out of it. So I'm like, could I really like consider it seasonal depression, or could I just consider it more of being like, ugh, the winter months suck?
Just getting dragged down a bit.
Yeah, just like feeling a little bit down. So I don't know. Maybe I'll let you know in like November or December how I feel. But I do think that I do get a more down.
Yeah.
Sure.
I could totally see that. I can't speak to you, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, I know I don't struggle too much with this. Yes, there are times that it being dark sucks or it being cold sucks, but I don't feel like I struggle too much with this. And then when I was thinking about you, and obviously depression and lower mood and that sort of stuff is not always surface level, so it's not always transparent, but I feel like I know you that well. But when I was thinking about you, I was thinking about, and it's easy for me because I have Jared and then I have you, so you two are very different, and I see you both a lot. And I was thinking, it doesn't seem like you kind of experience it as hardcore, and so that's why I was like, well, it'll be good to have Chloe Love on because I know that
she has experienced it.
Yeah. So I know that you have said that you kind of experienced this, and you're formulating a plan to get ahead of it. So I think it's definitely a relevant episode, and this is coming out in September, so we still might have a random hot, warm, whatever time.
Heat flash, but
before we know it, I feel like the sun is going to start going down at like 5 o'clock. It's going to be freezing. You're not going to want to leave your bed in the morning.
It's gonna be daylight savings.
I forget daylight savings.
Don't even.
No, actually, aren't they supposed to do away with that? Like last year.
I swear it's been talked about so many times.
Like, we're gonna stop doing
It's
it.
been so discussed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
but yeah, and then I also, so even though I said 5% get sad, which we all know is seasonal affective disorder by now, even though 5% get sad, the APA, American Psychiatric Association, shows that nearly 40% of us, so almost half of us, not quite, but nearly 40% of us report declining mood during winter. So it also was interesting to me when I was reading about it that this can affect women and teens more than men or adults. Yeah, which I thought was really interesting. I know right now that depression and whatnot is really rough for teenagers in general, but I thought it was interesting about women and teens, and I was like, I wonder if there's something hormonal going on there.
Yeah, I wonder what that is that makes them more susceptible.
Yeah, especially since my example before Chloe Love was an adult male.
Yeah.
Which
It's not to say that they don't get it.
no.
'Cause I would say that Mason gets seasonal depression worse than I do.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I mean, those are just two of the men that we know out of hundreds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I think we should start talking about it. So what would we say, what does it feel like generally?
Yeah, like Chloe Love, whenever you're noticing that like you're getting that seasonal depression, what's that like?
Honestly, my first sign is that I procrastinate worse than I do normally
Mm.
throughout the year. And I'm a terrible procrastinator. You know, I get it from dad and I hold everything off and yada yada yada. But especially during like the winter months and the colder months, I just feel weighed down and it's just so heavy.
Yeah.
And I get overwhelmed so much more easier
Yeah.
than I would during like the summer or the spring or even like as much of the fall, but it's mainly in the winter. And
Mhm.
sometimes it does feel like it's just dark and it's just cold. But my first sign is definitely that procrastination, and I just put everything off to the side.
Yeah, no, I totally get that one. I feel like I was gonna say, never mind. I don't want to say any of that.
I kind of feel like you've actually said before that procrastinating and putting stuff off and avoiding stuff is one of your first signs that you're like in a slump.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. It
Mhm.
absolutely is. But I was gonna say that like in the winter, I feel like normally I get a little kickstart of like starting habits again because I slacked off so much at the beginning of the year just because I was having so much fun. So I'm like, I can't tell. So I don't know.
You know, sometimes that's how it is for me. Whenever school starts up again after the summer,
Mhm.
I lose all of these good organized habits that I had during the school year. And whenever school year picks back up, I'm back on them and I'm on track.
Yeah.
But the moment it starts getting colder, I start falling off those habits. And that's it. It truly is my first sign that I'm just getting into that, you know, seasonal depression.
Yeah.
That slump, and I'm feeling heavy and just down all the time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Do you feel like those moments like creep up on you, or do you feel like you're aware that it's happening and like you're aware that it's starting to become a trend?
I feel like most of the time, most recently, they've just crept up on me, and it's kind of a surprise whenever it happens because I'm not
Mm.
being very aware of it.
It's just like all of a
So-
sudden you kind of like
Mhm.
boiled over.
Exactly. For the
Yeah.
past couple of years, it's just been, oh, well, there's that feeling again. Guess I'm in that. But this year, I've been trying to really be mindful about it and find and pinpoint whenever I'm feeling the way,
Yeah.
just so I can help, you know, prevent it.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask like what made, sorry, this is kind of interview style, but I really am curious. Can I ask
No worries.
what made you like want to start preventing it, or like what made it something that was like top of mind for you?
It was my grades. My grades
Really?
fell so hard because I was putting off all my work and all my
Like last year?
assignments. Especially sophomore year. Actually, it probably was sophomore year that first. it
That was
hit
a
me the
rough year
worst.
for you.
It actually was, and I think
remember
like the
that.
classes that I was taking did not help
Yeah.
whatsoever because I was taking all my like AP
There
honors.
was so much pressure on
Yeah.
you sophomore year, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're not even to junior
Mhm.
year
That's
yet."
what I'm saying. I'm like,
Junior's the worst.
and all my teachers are talking about like colleges, and I'm like, okay, hang on,
Uh.
I'm 15. Put a pause in it. It does relate back to my previous years because it was my grades, and I really want to stay on top of my grades this year because I know if I'm falling off of them, it's so difficult for me to get them back up like in the spring.
Yeah.
And by then it's like the end of the year, everybody else is done with their stuff, so I just naturally flow with everybody else, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm done with my stuff. Whenever in reality I'm not even close.
Yeah. In reality, you're actually behind, and you're like,
Mhm,
"Oh, crap."
exactly. So this year I really just wanted to make sure I could stay on top of my grades, and that
Mhm.
meant I had to prevent a whole bunch of stuff from happening.
So when you said that procrastination is your first sign, are you thinking of that mainly with like procrastinating homework or studying or kind of school focus, or do you find it in other things too, like you're procrastinating putting your clothes away, or
Yeah.
procrastinating doing chores, or procrastinating I don't know what other
It's-
responsibilities you have, but
Well, it really is just procrastinating like throughout my whole life. The most noticeable one for me would be schoolwork,
Mhm.
but even right now, like I have a whole bunch of clothes just on my floor at home because I don't want to put them away. And it gets so overwhelming because the thought of doing it is just, it's exertion and it's putting my body through stuff that I just don't really want to do in that moment. And then they pile up and then it's even more overwhelming because my room is a mess.
I hate
And so I
that feeling.
procrastinate that.
When you put off something for so long, then now it's like a mess. You're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
I need to put that one off too.
Exactly. And then I'll even like say I get home and mom's at work and Jordan's at work and dad's at work. So I get home to an empty house and it's just the dogs. I will procrastinate like taking the stools off the couch because I don't want to do it right then. And I feel exhausted, and it's not even just exhausted after a day of school. I'm just exhausted mentally, and I'm thinking of all the different things in my week that I have to do, and it's literally it's just a Monday, guys. Like, or a Tuesday maybe.
Like we just started.
And I'll procrastinate doing my chore, vacuuming the floors, or doing dishes, and sweeping and Swiffering. And I'll just kind of like, normally I'll go back to mom and dad's bed and I'll take a nap because I feel so tired.
Yeah.
I was curious because school is such a tangible thing and kind of a calculable or like measurable thing. And obviously not everybody listening to this has school anymore. And so it's interesting to see where it piles up in other places. And God love him. I don't think Jared will care if I, because mostly I'm thinking about him during this season. But when you started talking about the procrastination, I was thinking about in the winters, that's when he's most likely to procrastinate getting a haircut or procrastinate shaving his beard or procrastinate, if he has something that he needs to do with his car or the yard, or I guess in the yard, your yard dies, so maybe not that. But just things like that, I have noticed before the buildup, and it's not something I've been consciously aware of, but when I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah, in the spring, he's gonna get haircuts way more regularly than in the winter. So I was just thinking about there are some things that maybe creep up that you didn't even realize until you've got a full head of hair or whatever.
And that's something that people don't really talk about, especially with like depression. They don't talk about how it affects like your thoughts and like about yourself, and you're not really
and like the self-care.
And you're not really thinking about like very personal hygiene things.
Yeah,
and, I will procrastinate taking a shower for a couple days because it's mentally exhausting to think about it. And like shaving my legs, I don't want to shave my legs during the winter because I don't want to.
Whenever you get into those moments, it's like you also don't care. So like, why am I you don't even think about that whenever you're in those moments.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. But I also think when I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about it's dark and it's cold, and even just now when you said the shaving your leg things, like we're wearing more clothes. I just feel like in general in winter we're holed up a lot more. So it's a bit easier to go down into yourself and nobody and not let other people see that because you're not around people as much maybe. Or when you are around people, you're really covered up or whatever. It's interesting that it makes it just it being colder and darker makes it easier to kind of shell yourself off.
Like legit reminds me of a bear, like hibernating during the winter months. Like that's what we do as people too. And then if you're not careful, like all of a sudden no one's seen you for 6 months. And you come out and you're like, hey guys.
And then you're huge.
You're huge and you're hairy.
Wait, that's a crazy analogy. That's so accurate. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that's really interesting. I'm curious so you've been talking about this. This is why it came up. You've been talking about we're going to get ready. We're going to like try to avoid this as much as we can and just have some sort of plan. So when do you feel like it starts getting the worst? Like what months could you pinpoint, I guess?
I guess it would definitely have to be in August.
Wow.
Yeah, it starts early for me, but I think that's also, it just relates to grief, over John, because that's whenever seasonal depression first hit me the hardest, was whenever he died. But it starts super early for me, and it's in August, and I start feeling that weighed down heaviness. And then it'll get to be school year, and, and then it hits October, and now I've passed the grief phase, but I'm still in my, that depression. And that's the soonest that it would hit for me. The earliest.
Okay. It almost seems like and don't let me put words in your mouth.
Go ahead.
Yeah, talk for you. But it almost seems like maybe it's not seasonal depression in August. It's the grief, like you said, and just kind of the nostalgia over that
Oh,
and whatnot.
definitely,
And
yeah.
then it feels like it's so long, such a long
Mhm,
season because that hits. And then by the time you're kind of finally getting out of that and thinking about that, then it's dark and it's cold
Yeah.
and it's
Yes.
seasonal.
I
For
can see
sure.
that too. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That is a long
Oh my
time.
gosh. Do you feel like it goes all the way into like the winter months, like
It-
February and stuff?
It goes on forever. Oh my
Really?
gosh. I can't even like pinpoint whenever I actually come out of it, but it's
Mhm.
probably whenever like I start smelling spring air again, or whenever it's brighter out. The sun really does affect me. I'm not gonna
No,
lie
it
to
actually
you.
does. One time I was in therapy and I remember talking to her about like wanting to prevent seasonal depression and just like wanting to make sure I felt good. And she said that it's actually a recommendation for people to get a sunlight light.
Mhm.
And like it literally is just a little light that acts as the sun because you need the sunlight and it does so much for you and it does so much for your brain that when it's gone, like that you don't have it to rely on. So she literally
Exactly.
said that therapists recommend getting sunlight lights just so you can have a fake sun in
Mhm.
your room.
We got one for
Exactly.
Kathleen one year.
Yeah.
So part of Jared's depression, again, I don't think he'd mind me sharing this,
Mhm.
but it runs in his mom's side of the family pretty heavy. And honestly, they're both sides of the family, like there's some genetics with depression on both sides of the family.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's very prone to it. And his mom, we got her a sun lamp one year. She told us that was what she wanted to help with the sun or with the winter months.
Mhm.
And I've heard that. And then another thing that people swear by is taking vitamin D because you're not
Ooh.
getting it organically from the sun.
Yeah, you're like
And-
tricking your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're spot on, Chloe Love. Like the sun does make a huge difference in getting vitamin D. A regular dose of vitamin D every
Mhm.
day is so important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. Whenever it's just the same color outside from the time you wake up until like 6 p.m. and then it's just pitch black, like how is anyone supposed to feel joyful
Mhm.
Yeah,
during those months?
it's definitely
Yeah.
rough. Yeah, I would say it's so interesting that long span of time for you because for me, and like I said, I don't get seasonal depression per se,
Yeah.
but I feel like the gloomiest months of the year are January and February.
Me too.
Simply because in the winter, yes, it starts getting darker and it starts getting colder, and I hate going outside, but I feel like you at least have Thanksgiving to look forward to
Mhm.
and
Yes.
Christmas to look forward to,
Halloween, yeah.
and then New Year's, and then all of a sudden it's the new year and you have nothing to look forward to
Yeah.
until
The spring.
the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just wait for 3 months
Mhm.
until the sun comes out and there's something to look forward to again.
I
Yeah.
agree. It's also like during those months you get the snow and things, but it's like just gray outside.
Uh-huh.
Like the snow
Yep.
turns just gray because
It's
of all
just
the-
slush.
It-
Really.
yeah, just
yeah.
slush.
It's just slush on the floor.
It's
and
just gross.
it looks bad, so it makes you feel bad. And it's just like
Yeah.
And even if it was pretty snow, by then you probably had enough snow that the novelty is worn off. You just want it to be warm. You're
You're
sick
done
of
with it.
yeah. So you're sick of trying to get your car out there and all that. So
Mhm.
and driving to work or school or wherever in the cold. Yeah, I don't know. I just think to me those would be the worst months, and I feel like that is what I've seen from Jared. But his definitely does start in November, I would say. Like
Yeah.
when daylight savings happens, I don't know when that happens, but when that happens and it starts getting
Happens in November.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and it starts getting dark at 5 or 6,
Mhm.
that's when I noticed that he's having a rough time of it. But
Mhm.
it's interesting because last year I felt like he didn't have as bad of a year, but it was around this time, August or September, he said, "All right, this year I'm avoiding sad."
Yay.
And tried to put some things in place. or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
to
What are
avoid it.
some
Yeah.
things that he did?
So he did get a thing of vitamin D
Nice.
pills. I don't think he was super consistent with them, but he definitely did take them.
When he felt like he needed to pick me up.
Yes,
I needed
yeah.
vitamin D.
Yeah, and then there were some weeks or weekends where he may have normally drank and he decided not to because
Excellent.
yeah, like just kind of like reduce the alcohol a little bit.
I love having boundaries with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty good at that. He's got a
Mhm.
lot of self what's that called?
Control?
Oh, yeah, self-control. Yeah, not resistance. But yeah, he's got a lot of self-control in my opinion. But yeah, some things like that, and then I think he and then making sure that he was on his 3 times a week working out or doing some kind of physical activity.
Especially kids can't go outside. Like
Yes.
you
Oh
can.
my gosh.
Yeah.
The activity is definitely it. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. But I remember during whenever swim picks up in the winter, it definitely helps me because I'm exerting my body and like sand volleyball, it's not exactly all throughout the winter because
Uh-huh.
it's so freaking cold. And then soccer, it's normally indoor soccer, and sometimes that's just hard to make for me, and it's
Yeah.
not enough.
Yeah.
But swim is an everyday thing that I'm like literally in the water and I'm exerting every muscle in my body.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely science that shows like moving your body releases like
Yes.
the serotonin and the oxytocin and like the things that you need for like that happy chemical. But I also think it's so good to have something to look forward to
Mhm.
and something that is like planned and scheduled so you're not
Yes.
just hibernating by yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I wonder if that's like a big helpful preventative is whenever you do have things planned and set up. I think that is what I was saying earlier. Like, I feel like in the winter months is whenever I really start to kickstart all my habits again. I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, that's probably only been the last 2 years. And before that, like, I wouldn't say I had any good habits. Like, I only had my bad habits.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that I feel like maybe that is a preventative measure that I haven't realized is preventative, but it has helped me get through the winter months because I choose these habits that are just quick habits that keep the house clean and quick habits that keep myself clean and like just habits that keep me and my house in shape, which I think helps me personally with like the depression or just the feeling like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Kind of
Sometimes whenever you're staying organized, it's
Yeah.
what helps really.
I think it helps trick the brain into being like, okay, this is just a normal routine.
Mhm.
This is just everyday life.
Mhm.
Just go to the next.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know what I've found? Sometimes whenever I stay organized in my outside life, it's easier to organize the thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
Because everything in my head is so mumbo jumbo and it's all jumbled up and it's
Chaos.
crazy. It's absolute chaos. So sometimes that reflects on my out world.
Yeah.
And in my in world looks exactly like my out world. So whenever my out world is really organized and it's clean, I can focus on what's in my head.
Oh, absolutely. We all know I love my bedroom and I love my bed. I'm a bed girl.
Yes.
So yeah, if I'm laying in bed and there's laundry around me and I can see that the bathroom's dirty and I can tell that my bedstand is a mess, like I'm going to feel way worse. And also I am going to scroll longer and I am going to find myself way less likely to get up and make dinner or something like that. But when it's clean, I actually do notice that I'm like, I feel nice in here. And then I'm more likely to get up and do the next thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But the nutritionist that I love, Alana,
Yeah.
she always, I can't remember exactly what she says, but she says something like messy drawers, messy mind, or like something like that, where when we have cabinets and drawers and closets and whatnot that are just full and chaotic and whatever, as chaotic as they are in behind closed doors is how chaotic our mind feels a lot of the time.
It's definitely correlated.
Yeah. So I've thought a lot about that. Right before you got over, I was telling Chloe I got this new pantry organizer thing, and it is not going to work. But I have been trying to organize. I need to look at your pantry when I go over later because
It's not organized.
Oh,
Remember, I don't do the kitchen.
that's right. But for some reason, I thought the pantry you did. But
At the old house when it was really small. And I needed
okay,
it.
yeah. I was just gonna say I've been trying to figure out a good organizational system for our pantry for a while, and I'm just struggling. It's because it's just hard. It's really deep, like I'm trying to figure out. But anyway, all that doesn't matter. We're gonna cut this out. But anyway, so organizing, physical movement, vitamin D / sunlight.
Having something to look
supplement.
forward to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What other kinds of things have you started thinking about? Okay, I'm going to implement this to help avoid
Sad.
devolving into this spiral.
For me, sometimes it's just hanging out with friends But I have to be really mindful about whenever I'm hanging out with friends, it's not to push off other things in my life.
Mhm.
It's to help my mood and to just get better in my mind.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, tomorrow, Monday, Monday, I'm going to go get breakfast and watch a movie with Chloe Kenyon and Miley. And, those are just people that I want to hang out with. And it's to
Yeah.
prevent like a Monday mood that I
Mhm.
just don't want to be in,
Yeah.
So your school district has gone to 4-day school weeks.
Yes.
And you have Mondays off. Do you feel like that's correlated at all? Do you feel like Mondays are harder for you because you don't have something going on? And so it's good to have like a plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love planning stuff on Mondays, especially now that mom has a job.
Mhm.
It has actually been the worst experience of my life. Just being at home
'Cause you're all
alone.
alone. You
Because
hate being alone.
I hate being alone is the worst thing ever.
Mhm.
And yeah, I have Padlet and Kingsley, but sometimes they're just like I can talk to them.
You need,
they're
like, an
not,
actual
they're not gonna talk
person.
back to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is so funny because I love being alone.
I
love
I don't.
I know.
Yeah, sometimes I don't understand people who love just having that like being alone because sometimes I understand the wanting to decompress and just
Mhm.
have like your own space. But especially most recently, I have been going in mom and dad's room and just sitting with mom. And we're not even talking. She's listening to her own podcast, and I'm sitting there reading a book or
Mhm.
scrolling on my phone. But it's just because I don't want to sit in my room and do it.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to go out into the empty living room and do it.
Are you a quality time person?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm words of affirmation and then quality time.
Okay, cool. Quality time's like my last one.
I'm not a big quality time person, but I just don't know what to do with myself if I have more than like 4 hours alone.
Yeah.
But I do love a good afternoon by myself or something like that. But honestly, it is still comforting to know that Jared's like downstairs, even
Yeah.
if I don't see him for 4 hours or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm just a fraidy cat. I don't even know if it has to do with needing to be around someone. But
I would also say you guys are both extroverts, so you get like energy and stuff from hanging out with people. I
definitely.
do not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I definitely would say that having something to do on a Monday, especially whenever I like don't have school or like I don't work on a Monday, planning something with friends or even just being like, hey Miley, you want to come do my clothes with me? Because she will literally just sit in my room and talk to me while I put away my clothes.
Yeah, you
And-
called her like your errand friend.
Unless she's my errand friend.
Uh-huh.
I just run errands with her. And she's like, hey, I'm going to Walmart at like 8 o'clock at night.
Like,
Do
you
you
wanna
want to come with me? And I'm like, ciao. So, but it's a way for me to keep out the like just negative thoughts and
yeah.
just a way to keep my body moving, keep my mind focused on something that's not my mind, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way.
I have kind of a tough question then to follow up because for me, when I'm in a slump or let's call it seasonal depression,
Mhm.
those kinds of things are harder for me to initiate. So,
Mm.
because if I'm already kind of down in the dumps or whatever, the last thing I want to do is make a plan and pick where we're going or, that sort of thing. So how do you make sure that you that you take care of that before it gets to that point, I guess, if that makes sense?
I think it may be a little different because especially with Miley or like sometimes it's Julian as well. I don't have to have a plan because they'll think of something to do. Or Miley is just such, hey, you want to go do something? Sure. And I'll get in her car and she'll be like, what are we doing? And I'll be like, I don't know, you pick. And she'll be like, okay, let's go to Walmart. And we'll just
Nice.
walk around Walmart for a little bit. And she's just such a person who will pick anything to do just as long as she's doing it. And it's really nice on those days where I'm like, okay, I don't want to make a plan. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think of like just having to go somewhere and do this and making a to-do list. But instead,
Yeah.
it's just I'm driving in a car with a friend who is literally going to make all the decisions for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's like, okay, what do you want to eat? I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling chicken. And she'll go, okay, let's go to McDonald's. And I'll go, cool.
Nice.
You know?
I feel like I guess because I'm thinking about people listening to this and I'm thinking about, okay, what is the takeaway here? And I feel like maybe listening to you talk about that is knowing yourself and knowing the people that are good to have around when you're
For
in a
sure.
slump and the ones who maybe, well, not necessarily the ones who aren't, but the ones who are. And again, I'm thinking about Jared and we have some friends where it feels like we need to do something
Mhm.
fun or
Yeah.
memorable or something like that. And then we've got friends that are more like, it doesn't matter what we do. We could just go over to their house and
Chill for a little bit.
and snack on whatever they have in their cupboards or whatever. Like we don't have to do anything specific or
like host or
Mhm.
entertain.
yes,
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe going into this season, pinpointing those people in your brain
Mhm.
earlier on might be
Mhm.
helpful because
Yes.
if you have an errand friend or you have a easy couple friend or something like that that can just kind of be a go-to for you
Yeah.
whenever you're sitting at home and you know that you are kind of don't really need to be sitting
Mhm.
at home and wallowing or whatever it is that you're doing or scrolling and you have like and you want to pick someone that you're picking somebody that makes sense for making you feel better
Exactly.
rather than escalating the problem,
Mhm.
you know?
And something that like not really anybody knows that I have, but I do have this little notes page on my phone that has just like different ideas of what I would want to do. So sometimes
Ooh.
it's just like scrolling through that and it's like, okay, which one do I feel like so that the plan is already pretty much made in my mind.
like
And so sometimes it's just easier to have the plan already and I'll ask someone and I'll be like, sure, does 9 o'clock work? And I'm like, yeah.
I kind of like that as a preventative idea too.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it almost reminds me of your nesting nights where you planned them out in advance. And I just think that there's something so good to be said for when you're in a good headspace, taking care of the future you that's in a bad headspace.
Mhm.
And part of the present you being in a good headspace and thinking about yourself in the future is, hey, I'm going to make this list of when I'm down, these are some things that I could do so that then whenever I'm experiencing decision fatigue like we talked about last week, or I'm just experiencing being down, or I'm experiencing seasonal depression, I can go back to this list and just pick and just or do just the first thing on the list or something like
Mhm.
that. Or I even know Pinterest I feel like has graphics of fall things to do or winter things to stuff like that.
Pinterest.
Yeah, that you can
Oh.
just save and have available for yourself in the future when you don't feel like you have the bandwidth to take care of
Mhm.
that.
Exactly. It kind of reminds me of obviously I wouldn't know because I don't drink, but I've read about it and I've seen it like on Instagram or whatever.
Mhm.
But sober you taking care of drunk you, taking care of sober you. So if you
Yeah.
like before you go out and drink or whatever you want to do,
Yeah,
you set the bed. Yeah, you make the bed. You set aspirin and water and like whatever food you want to drink, eat in the morning, and then you go out and drink, and then you come back. You wake up and you have like whatever type of hangover. Again, I have no idea, but
Yeah.
No, I think that
Yeah,
that's
but
like a
it's- you're
funny
taking
way
care of
of
yourself.
Yeah, like we're so okay with taking care of drunk us. We're like, oh man, sober me is so good to drunk me. But it's like,
Mhm.
okay, then happy you should be good to depressed you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like the
exactly.
cutesy analogy.
That's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of our episode list. Like we just have this big list of episode ideas.
Yes.
That whenever one of us think of an episode topic, we're like, oh, we'll just put it in there just in case in a couple months if neither of us have like an idea flowing, we can just go back to that. So I really like the idea of when you see things that you're like, oh, I'd like to do that, or a place that you'd like to go, or a friend you want to visit, or whatever, like putting it in a little notes app. I think that's actually a really good idea,
Mhm.
especially because whenever you can fall into like that kind of seasonal depression mood or that just really down in the dumps mood, it can be really hard to remember what brings you joy, or it can be really hard to remember what it feels like
Yes,
to
especially.
be joyful. And so having those moments of being like, oh yeah, I really wanted to try this. I think
Mhm.
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, and especially surrounding yourself, like making the conscious decision to surround yourself with people who you know will be okay, maybe like repeating an activity once or twice.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm talking about Miley a lot, but she is like the
Hey.
person that I go to whenever I need to do something and I don't
Yeah,
wanna think
I mean,
about
it's like me talking about, I talk about Mason constantly on
it.
here.
Yeah.
It's like who you
but-
spend the most time with.
Exactly. But she will 100% go out and just walk around Walmart with me. And we don't get anything. We don't do anything. We just walk around Walmart and we like look at things and
Yeah,
she'll
have fun.
100% do that like 3 times a week if she was asked.
Yeah. I used to do that a lot with Sophie.
Mhm.
High school week, except we would go to the mall a lot.
Mm.
Well, I definitely feel like we really covered sad
Mhm.
and like how it can start feeling. And even though we talked about school, like you can relate that back to work or taking your kids places. Like, it's definitely relatable. And I will be interested to know this winter, if I think that I feel the seasonal depression mood or if it's more of just like down in the dumps.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely be on
For
the
you, it's
lookout.
going to be a little bit different because you're going to have a huge hormonal change.
Yes,
Yeah,
oh my
this
gosh.
winter's gonna be really different.
Yeah, it could be really awesome where you're going to be doing all of baby girls first.
Yeah.
You know, that's really exciting. But also, your hormones are going to change so much, you have no idea how your brain is going to feel.
Oh my God, I
Mhm.
know.
And I don't know when you're cleared to take your ADHD medicine again, but that's another thing, you know, so it's really
Yeah.
hard to know. But I'm curious as well. And I think that for me, sometimes just being aware of something before it starts happening. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. Just being aware and acknowledging it before it starts happening
Mhm.
helps you lessen the effects of it.
Yes.
And I even right now we're doing our September small wins challenge, or no, small win September challenge. And I think even that is helping me feel more like a winner, I guess,
Mhm.
Yeah.
in my everyday life than I have in a while. And so just being, I don't know. Yeah, being mindful and putting intention toward this, I think
Mhm.
would definitely help you take care of your depressed self, sober
Yeah.
self,
Happy self taking care of your
yes,
sad self.
yes, yes, happy self taking care of your sad self. I think that I think that it's helpful just to even acknowledge it.
I agree.
That's
And-
like the first step.
yeah, and to know that it could be coming and kind of get your things in gear, get your things in place.
Yeah. And obviously none of us are therapists or or qualified,
no
or
way.
certified, or have any kind of credentials to, but these are just some things that we're doing to help with it and that we've seen help.
From experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So Chloe Love, any final thoughts for the listeners?
Honestly, I would just say that, again, reinstating the fact that being knowledgeable on it and being so very mindful of like just thinking back to past seasons and past winters and just differentiating between between the down and just like the heavy, and making sure that you're mindful of that and like,
Yeah.
taking the steps before you feel like that.
Mhm.
Like, I'm happy most of the time, like in the previous months.
Mhm.
And so I'll literally be making steps like, okay, I'm not going to be like this for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I should, get my room a little bit more organized so I can start off my depressed months with
Mhm.
a little more of an organized space,
I really
So-
think it's so good that you're already focusing on that because you are younger.
Yeah.
And I do think that can be something that even adults now like struggle with preventing things,
Mhm.
and they struggle just of not falling into the same trap or the same bad habits. So
Yeah.
I think it's really great that you are like being really mindful of it and trying your best to prevent it. And I just think that's really great, especially because you are so young and there's people who let that go for years.
Mhm.
And there's people who let it go forever before they
Mhm.
and like never do anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes they just don't even know. So
Yeah.
taking note of the fact that maybe you're happier during the summer than you are the winter.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's not the exact sign of having seasonal depression.
Yeah.
But taking note of just like that first fact is normally you can lead up to, oh, maybe I do have seasonal depression.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that.
All right. Well, I think that is everything. Hopefully, you
So-
guys are participating in our Small Win September challenge. We're getting toward the end of the month.
Oh my god, yeah.
I wonder if by the time this episode comes out, no, I was gonna say baby girl might be
Oh my
here.
god. Could be. I told you I was feeling weird today.
I think by the time that this episode comes out, you'll be almost 38 weeks.
No, I'm 38 weeks on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 37 this week. So by the time this episode comes out, you'll be one day less than 39 weeks. That's crazy.
Oh my god.
So baby girl might be here.
She could be, or she could continue hibernating.
No, she's gonna come out.
Hairy and big.
Hairy.
Just kidding.
I love it.
Well, thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate your support and send this to whoever needs it. I'm thinking I'm probably going to send it to Mason and just be like, hey, like, here's some preventatives you can do because I noticed that like winter gets kind of hard for you. So I'm probably going to share it with him. So share it with whoever you think would really benefit from it. And we will see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.